हेडफोन कहाँ रखा? हेडफोन कहाँ रखा?
iPad entered the meeting room. हो गया, छोड़ दे इसको.
Unmute করে লব.
Very good morning, sir. We'll just start in 5 to 7 minutes.
We'll be starting with the inaugural session at 10:15 a.m.
Abhavya, can we begin with the inaugural ceremony?
Yes, sir. A very good morning to the distinguished speaker, respected dignitaries, and dear participants present over here. I, Abhavya Rana, Head of Publication, Droid Panel Group, welcomes you all to the inaugural session of the two-day virtual National Conference on Law and Social Justice, Contemporary Issues and Challenges, organized by the Postgraduate Department of Law, Guwahati University, Guwahati, and Droid Panel Group, a unit of Arjun Das Gulati Memorial Society, Prayagraj, held on 26th August and 27th August. So now I would like to proceed the session with the virtual lighting of lamp. Thank you so much, sir. Now, moving the session forward with a brief introduction about the organizers. Firstly, about Pandit Madan Mohan Malviya National Mission on Teachers and Teaching. It is a scheme launched by the Ministry of Human Resource Development, Government of India. The aim of the scheme is to improve the quality of school and higher education by addressing comprehensively all issues related to teachers, teaching, teacher preparation, professional development, curriculum design, designing, developing assessment, evaluation methodology, research in pedagogy, and developing effective pedagogy, and etc. Many centers such as TLC, FDC, School of Education, etc. have been opened throughout the country. Moving, next we have about Guru Angad Dev Teaching Learning Center, GAD-TLC, SGTB Khalsa College, University of Delhi. So Guru Angad Dev Teaching Learning Center was inaugurated on 1st July 2016 by Srimati Smriti Zubin Irani. GAD-TLC is a leading center of Ministry of Education, Government of India, under Pandit Madan Mohan Malviya National Mission on Teachers and Teaching. GAD-TLC has been created under PMM NMTT of the Ministry of Human Resource Development, Government of India, which addresses comprehensively all issues related to teachers, teaching, teacher preparation and professional development, and thus helps in the preparation of modern age ICT savvy teachers. This center empowers through various basic and advanced workshops for teachers in pedagogy and ICT skills. MHRD has also selected GAD-TLC as the National Resource Center of Chemistry in 2018. Since 2016, it has trained more than 75,000 plus teachers in the areas of e-learning, blended learning, pedagogies, ICT tools, and educational technologies, etc. The core team of GAD-TLC has the expertise of developing more than 50 MOCs for Swayam platform of Government of India, and the e-content produced by GAD-TLC has been rated as one of the best in quality at the national level. Next is we have about Guwahati University. Guwahati University, a NAC A-grade institution, is one of the premier institutions of higher education in Northeast India and the largest university in the Northeast India. The university has completed 75 glorious years after its establishment on 26 January 1948. Guwahati University has been a top-ranking institute for 7 years in a row, as it is placed within top 1.12% of all higher educational institutions in India, as per NRIF rankings. Guwahati University is also the most diversified in academics among all other institutions of higher education in the Northeast. University had been selected for the prestigious NSS Award for the year 2019 to 20, which was received from the Honorable President of India in September 2021. University was among the 2 universities selected for this award in the entire country. For the year 2022, University is placed within the 501 to 550th position in the QS World Asia ranking. Guwahati University has also been an alma mater to other famous personalities like former Chief Ministers of Assam, Shri Prafulla Kumar Mahanta, late Shri Tarun Gogoi, Shri Sarbananda Sonowal, and present Honorable Chief Minister of Assam, Dr. Himanta Biswa. Guwahati University has been serving as a think tank for the development of the entire Assamese society throughout the history of the university. About PG Department of Law, Guwahati University. So the Postgraduate Department of Law, established in the year 1976, is a premier center for advanced legal studies and research in Northeast India. It has contributed significantly to the growth of legal education in the region and beyond. Through the LLM and PhD programs offered by this department, it provides quality legal education and facilitates research on issues of contemporary relevance while focusing on the overall growth of the scholars with special emphasis on upholding core societal values. It encourages critical legal thought and socially relevant dissemination of legal knowledge in order to propagate the rule of law and reinforce the administration of justice. About Droid Panel Group. Droid Panel Group is an initiative taken in the legal field to provide the discussions on minute nuances involved in the intricacies of law in a simple and qualified manner. Our initiative is not only limited to criminal law, but also on varieties of law. The Droid Panel Indian Journal on Crime and Criminology was established in the year 2016, where in the year 2019, the Droid Panel ILJCC was considered as the group, where we have started other ventures under the name of Droid Panel Group. The Droid Panel Group is established for the purpose of promoting and creating awareness, interest in legal and allied fields by organizing training, workshops, seminars, debates, and discussions, to publish books, journals, magazines, periodicals, and other publications in different languages. Not only this, but also the Droid Panel Group focuses to impart free educational and training to poor and needy students. The group is actively involved in promotion of legal aid to poor and aggrieved class of society by regular organizing the free legal aid camps. Establishment of Droid Panel Group under the Aegis of Society, the Arjun Das Gulati Memorial Society, a registered society under the Societies Registration Act 1860, has catered to the objectives of Droid Panel Group. Droid Panel Group has registered a Society for Research in Criminology, Indian Legal Research Society on Criminology. This society will look into the research and publication of research work under the banner of Indian Legal Research Society on Criminology. The organization is signing MOUs with various universities, colleges, and organizations for the welfare and encouragement of young minds in the research and publication. Proceeding further, I would now like to invite Dr. Karavi Burman Assistant Professor, PG Department of Law, Guwahati University, Assam, for introducing the theme of the conference.
Am I audible, Abhavya?
Yes, ma'am.
A very good morning to the distinguished assembly. I take the pleasure of welcoming all our dignitaries, eminent scholars, honored guests, speakers, resource persons, academicians, and the learned participants to the National Conference on Emerging Contours of Law and Justice in the Contemporary Era, Issues and Challenges, which is initiated with the intent of active and interactive learning organized by PG Department of Law, Guwahati University, and Droid Panel Group, a unit of Arjun Das Gulati Memorial Prayagraj, in collaboration with Guru Angad Dev Teaching and Learning Center, Pandit Manmohan Malviya National Mission on Teachers and Teaching, Ministry of Education, Government of India. I deem it a great privilege to introduce the theme of our national conference, which is quite encompassing to cater various discourses and discussions relevant in the current scenario. In this rapidly evolving world, the landscape of law and justice is undergoing profound transformations, bringing to the forefront a plethora of legal and socioeconomic issues and challenges that calls for our attention, and our legal system must be well equipped to adapt to these emerging contours. The theme of the conference revolves around revisiting the future of legal education in India. The theme should be conversed for the betterment of all lawyers, researchers, and academicians, both proficient and novices. The main objective in bringing together such eminent personalities of legal and social world in this conference is to help the prospective lawyers, academicians, and the different stakeholders to gain expertise from the veteran personalities, including the legal stalwarts and the educationists, who have been truly humbled to be here despite their extremely busy schedule. Without much ado, I would like to state that this conference would play a crucial role in igniting minds, young and aged, to strive for the cause of humanity and mankind. Some of the sub-themes of the conference, which I would like to highlight very briefly, are law, religion, and culture, judicial review and judicial accountability, global justice and comparative constitution, social inclusion and sustainable development, green criminology and environmental justice, role of forensic science in criminal justice system, human rights and criminal justice system, international law, policy and governance, and so forth. This conference should serve as a pathfinder for the various stakeholders, and I do hope that the debates and discussions would be taken far beyond the circumscribed areas and would definitely be a gateway for the marginalized to assert their rights that would lead to implementation of various programs and policies made for the general masses. I would like to conclude in the words of Bal Gangadhar Tilak: Swaraj is my birthright and I shall have it. Let's all hope that the schemes and policies made for the needy reaches their doorsteps, and only then the noble mission and vision of establishing a welfare state would be accomplished. The point for consideration here is, what can we do beyond the black and white letters of the law? The point here is that to make a humble attempt to educate people and ignite minds from ignorance to wisdom, from adversity to courage. As it is rightly said in a Sanskrit phrase, Vasudeva Kutumbakam, meaning the world is one family. So let's all rise from darkness to light. Tamasoma Jyotirgamaya. Thank you. Over to Abhaya.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for enlightening us with the theme of the conference. Now I would like to invite Mr. Gaurav Gulati, Advocate, Allahabad High Court, for welcome address.
Thank you, Abhavya, for this moderation which you have been doing, and the work which you have been doing since last 15 days. A very good morning to all in one present here and our respected dignitaries who have taken out time from their busy schedules and joined this 2 days national conference on the emerging contours of law and justice in the contemporary era, issues and challenges. Today, I have been given this task to welcome the honorable guests which we have invited for this inaugural session. I would like to welcome all our distinguished guests, Professor Nishtha Jaswal ma'am, who is the Vice Chancellor of Himachal Pradesh National Law University, Shimla. As the chief guest, we have with us Mr. Rakesh Pandey, sir, Senior Advocate, Allahabad High Court and former President of Allahabad High Court Bar Association. Thank you, sir, for joining with us for this session. And moreover, majorly we had invited for the keynote address Professor Kumar Askan Pandey, sir, from Ram Manohar Lohia National Law University, Lucknow, Mrs. Priyanka Midha, madam, Advocate, Allahabad High Court and Additional Chief Standing Counsel, Government of Uttar Pradesh, Professor Vimal Rar, National Coordinator, Guru Angad Dev Teaching Learning Center, a scheme under Pandit Madan Mohan Malviya National Mission on Teachers and Teaching, Ministry of Education, Government of India. Moreover, we would like to welcome our presidential address person, Dr. Aprajita Barur, ma'am, who is the head of the department, PG Department of Law, Guwahati University, Assam, and Ms. Gauri Gulati, who is right now the Managing Director of Droid Penal Group, Prayagraj, and Arjun Das Gulati Educational Trust, Chitrakoot Dham. Today, on this auspicious occasion, I would like to welcome all our participants who have joined from various parts of the country and given their wonderful response for this conference. I would not waste a lot of time on this welcome address. Thank you, Abhavya, and let's move forward towards this conference.
Thank you so much, sir. Now I would like to request Mr. Gaurav Gulati, sir, to proceed with the launch of virtual abstract book.
Abhavya, is the book visible?
Yes, sir.
This is the abstract book which we have come across with all the abstracts of this national conference, which have almost 210 abstracts all across India. And this book is published by Droid Penal Publication, which is another part of Droid Penal Group, Prayagraj. We have been focusing on publication sectors for the participants who will be afterwards after this conference. The papers will be published in this book.
Thank you so much, sir, for the launch of this virtual abstract book. Now, proceeding further, we have with us our keynote speaker, Professor Kumar Askan Pandey, Professor Dr. Ram Manohar Lohia, National Law University, Lucknow. Dr. Kumar Askan Pandey is a founding faculty member of the university. Prior to joining this university, he was assistant professor at West Bengal NUJS, Kolkata, from 2004 to 2006, and also worked as lecturer at APN PG College, Basti, and Vrindavan Law College, Vrindavan, between 2002 and 2004. He is also guest faculty in several academic and training institutes of national repute, including NUJS, NLUD, and DNLU. In 2015 to 16, he was invited by the Department of Women and Child Development, Government of UP, to conduct the first ever social audit and rapid assessment of the child care institutions in the state of UP and submitted 2 reports thereof. In the year 2016, his proposal for a major action research project was accepted by UNICEF, and under his stewardship, the project is successfully running in 28 districts of Uttar Pradesh under the title Strengthening Child Protection System in the State of Uttar Pradesh. In the year 2017 to 18, Dr. Pandey was also nominated as a member of the resource group constituted by the DWCD Government of UP for framing the state rules under the Juvenile Justice Act 2015. In the year 2021, he was the member of the drafting committee for drafting UP state rules under the Prohibition of Child Marriage Act 2006. He has been a consultant to the Mahila Samman Prakosht, the Women and Children Wing of the Uttar Pradesh Police, and conducted several training programs for the members of the police force across the state of Uttar Pradesh. Dr. Pandey has been the training program director for the training and capacity building of public prosecutors of Uttar Pradesh since 2012. In the year 2023, he was on the panel of master trainers for the police officers of Uttar Pradesh. A prolific writer, Dr. Kumar Askan Pandey has authored, revised 5 textbooks on criminal law, law of evidence, and juvenile justice, published by the leading Indian publishing houses EBC and CLP. He also has around 20 articles and papers published in the reputed journals and law reviews. I now request Professor Kumar Askan Pandey sir to address the gathering.
Thank you very much, Abhavya, for very elaborate introduction and very kind words. I find a pleasure in the company of so many stalwarts. So let me start with paying my respect to the chief guest of today's inaugural session, respected Professor Dr. Nishtha Jaswal, Honorable Vice Chancellor, NLU, Himachal Pradesh, Shri Rakesh Pandey ji, who is guest of honor in today's inaugural session, Senior Advocate, Allahabad High Court. Dr. Karavi, who introduced beautifully the theme of today's, these 2 days seminar. Professor Dr. Vimla, Priyanka Midha ma'am, who's a lawyer from Allahabad High Court, and resource persons, and above all, participants, it seems, from across the country. I could see the figure here. It's huge. 139 is what the screen shows. So congratulations, organizers, for bringing so many bright young minds together who would be deliberating over a period of 2 days on the topic, that is emerging contours of law and justice in the contemporary era, issues and challenges. Certainly, the special emphasis shall be on India, but there is no gain saying that in a rapidly evolving world, the notions of law and justice are in a constant state of flux, undergoing profound transformations and bringing to fore a host of new challenges, at the same time, new opportunities. Now, when I was thinking what to speak to the distinguished audience in the inaugural session as a keynote, I could think that the issues would be forming a very beautiful bouquet of thoughts. Now, one may be picked, the other may be left. And when we think of emerging contours, certainly due to the time constraint, I would only be flagging a very pertinent issues, few very, very pertinent issues in this regard. As we all know that the contemporary era is marked by unprecedented globalization. And at the same time, rapid technological advancements. These have led to the creation of an interconnected global village, where the boundaries of traditional legal jurisdictions are often tested. Cross-border issues such as cybercrime, intellectual property disputes, and transnational organized crimes, amongst other, pose significant challenge to the established legal framework. In the Indian context, while significant progress has been made ensuring access to justice and equality, true equality remains a paramount concern. In India, that is a nation with diverse cultures, demographics, there is an ongoing struggle to provide legal services to all citizens, especially those in rural and marginalized communities. Bridging this gap requires innovative approaches, including mobile legal clinics, virtual courts, legal literacy campaigns, and many other things, of course. Another important concern when we talk about the topic of this 2 days conference is environmental justice. The environmental crisis, not only in this country, we have witnessed that how nature has caused havoc in certain parts of this country, and how other parts are facing dry spells with rain deficit and all. So on the one hand, you have incidents of cloud bursts, excessive rain. On the other hand, we have the dry spell that is all due to what we call the climate change and all. So this environmental crisis that the entire world is undergoing or facing, it presents a unique dimension of justice in the contemporary era. With concerns over climate change, deforestation, and pollution, the law is increasingly being called upon to address environmental injustices. India has had a very rich tradition of public interest litigations, especially public interest litigations in ensuring environmental justice. So public interest litigations and international agreements like the Paris Agreement, these are in fact reshaping the legal landscape to prioritize ecological balance, no doubt. Another theme which I believe, another topic rather, another idea that would be discussed, deliberated during these 2 days conference is the evolving notions of human rights. So the contemporary issues that are related to human rights, including privacy, data protection, and LGBTQ plus rights, rather Q plus rights. These issues are reshaping the understanding of justice. In India, the recognition of the right to privacy, rather emphatic recognition of the right to privacy by a 9 judges bench, of the Supreme Court as a fundamental right marked a significant milestone in aligning laws with evolving societal norms. Another area of concern is challenge to digital jurisprudence. Rather, there are multiple challenges. As we all know that the digital era has given rise to a complex web of legal challenges. Host of challenges are there. Online harassment, cyberbullying, the issues surrounding digital evidence. These present unique hurdles for the justice system. Adapting legal frameworks to regulate the digital space while safeguarding individual rights is no doubt a critical undertaking. It's a critical enterprise. Also,
backward
I've
area
seen in the contemporary era a growing emphasis on alternative dispute resolution, ADR mechanisms, from mediation and arbitration. We have also reached that stage where negotiation is being legally recognized as one important ADR method. So these offer swifter and more cost-effective solutions when you compare them to the traditional litigation, no doubt. In India, the promotion of ADR mechanism through legal reforms is changing the way disputes are resolved. I understand that a lot is to be done to imbibe the culture of ADR in the Indian legal system, but still, as we say that well begun is half done. Equally important in the contemporary era when we think of justice is the need to strike a balance between humanitarian concerns and national security. You would agree that a delicate balance must be struck between ensuring humanitarian considerations, protecting civil liberties, upholding national security, and similar imperatives. Issues like surveillance, counter-terrorism measures, and immigration policies challenge societies to find equilibrium between safeguarding individual rights and collective security. Equally important in this context is the role of judiciary and legal professionals. In this evolving legal landscape, the role of the judiciary, right from the top to bottom, and legal professionals becomes very, very crucial, very, very critical, very, very important. Judges and lawyers are not only interpreters of law, but they are also agents of changes that shape the contours of justice through landmark judgments and advocacy. And to effectively navigate the emerging contours of law and justice, a robust legal education system is indispensable. Law schools, law colleges, law faculties, they must adapt their curricula to equip students with the skills and knowledge to address contemporary legal challenges effectively. My address would remain incomplete if I do not draw your attention to the role of artificial intelligence in dispensing justice and the challenges thereof. Again, you would agree that the integration of artificial intelligence into the legal domain has been a game changer. AI-powered tools can process massive amounts of data. They can also conduct legal research. They can even predict legal outcomes. Automated document review and predictive analytics are becoming valuable assets in legal proceedings, which enable lawyers to work more efficiently and to make informed decisions. But is everything good about the use of artificial intelligence in the legal domain? I hope the participants would be deliberating and would be discussing that how the use of artificial intelligence in dispensing justice comes with its own set of challenges. The potential for bias in artificial intelligence algorithms and the implications for transparency and accountability must be carefully considered. As we rely more on artificial intelligence for legal analysis, it's crucial to ensure that human oversight remains central to the decision-making process. To conclude, the emergence of new dimensions in law and justice brings both opportunities and challenges, as I had mentioned in the very beginning. As we navigate this complex terrain, it is essential to uphold the principles of justice, fairness, and equality. With a commitment to innovation, inclusivity, and the rule of law, we can ensure that the evolving legal landscape aligns with the aspirations of the Indian society. With this, I close. Thank you very much for your patience. Have a good day. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir, for enlightening us with your deep insights and knowledge. Proceeding further, we have with us Mrs. Priyanka Midha, Advocate, Allahabad High Court, Additional Chief Standing Counsel, Government of Uttar Pradesh, for address by the speaker. Born and brought up in Prayagraj, merit holder of ILS Law College, Pune University, she came back to the city to be an independent litigating practitioner. Since 2007, been working as an advocate at the Honorable High Court of Judicature at Allahabad, closely committed to working towards uplifting our city and its women. Appointed as Additional Chief Standing Counsel, Government of UP, a dedicated lawyer for National Commission for Women, Government of India organization, constituted the Middle Income Group Legal Aid Services at the Allahabad High Court as a founding member, part of social awareness programs for women, empaneled as a lawyer for Middle Income Group Legal Aid Society at Allahabad High Court. She believes strongly in gender equality and with the views, women have always been the strong ones of the world. Also, the first woman to be elected as the Executive Council at the Advocates Association High Court in the year 2018. We welcome you, ma'am. I now request Mrs. Priyanka Midha, ma'am, to address the gathering.
A very good morning to all those present here on this virtual platform today. I'm really humbled with this introduction. Thank you so much. At the outset, I would also like to thank for this opportunity that has been given to me to address on this enriching and very relevant topic of today, that is emerging contours of law and justice in the contemporary era. We are precisely in the year 2023 as we discuss this. And as beautifully put up by Professor Anand, when we think of this topic, a bouquet of ideas come to our mind. It is indeed a canvas of probabilities that we think of as we deliberate and discuss on this beautiful Saturday morning with the participation of all those present here on this virtual platform, with our distinguished guest of honor, our senior advocate, as to what can be the issues and challenges that we need to address as a society as a whole, so that our modern developed law is in tune with societal reforms. If I can say it simply, while we studied sociology back in our law colleges, and most of you would be studying the subject as of today, societal reforms and the social legal aspects in development of any kind of law is extremely essential to its growth. We had a very renowned sociologist known as Max Weber, who at that time in the 19th century laid much emphasis on the development of modern law. And he said that the development of modern law is not possible unless and until there's a formalization of rational ideas giving impetus to gender equality, to impartiality, to fairness towards all. Taking and borrowing the central theme of Max Weber's ideas, my address today, as my introduction also says, is more on inclusiveness, on accountability, on the need to respect gender orientations and gender sensitizations in our society today. Inclusiveness and accountability are part of a very broad and important essential principle known as judicial integrity. When we talk about judicial integrity, we not necessarily just mean the integrity on personal levels, the biases. We mean to say that there is a need for inclusiveness in our society. And therefore, if we wish to touch the modern era and aspect of development of law, its issues and challenges, then we must address and recognize the gender biases, the problems, the issues, the inclusiveness of minorities, of women, and so as to say even technology as it stands today. Inclusiveness gives way to diversity. And when we talk about diversity, a judicial mechanism not only progresses, but enriches itself when we take into account the diversity, taking into account, recognizing the biasness, the ethnicity, the races, the cultures, and the gender issues as prevalent today. Our Honorable Apex Court has time and again making a relevant endeavor. It's gone a step ahead in addressing all these issues. And our Honorable Chief Justice of India, Honorable Justice D.Y. Chandrachud, has time and again relentlessly been raising these issues in his judgments, in his addresses, and making us aware of the issues and challenges we face with regard to technology, with regard to including women and creating posts and hiring women at the inception itself. Therefore, the first issue that we address today is how much as a society are we ready to include persons belonging to the LGBT communities, transgenders, belonging to different minorities, and grow and involve with them as a society. The need for artificial intelligence and technology also is a very relevant aspect of our modern era, and therefore it gives a very dimensional sphere to the term accountability. We today cannot include anything within our system, within our legal framework, within our judicial system, unless and until its accountability is vouched for. As rightly has been addressed by Professor Anand very beautifully, artificial intelligence has a lot of handicaps to it, but at the same time, its relevance cannot be ignored in the modern era. Plethora of pending cases, oldest of old records, summoning of records from the courts below, dispensation of speedy justice, can all be achieved through means of artificial intelligence. In fact, our Honorable Supreme Court has very keenly developed a committee for addressing the issues on artificial intelligence. If I remember it correctly, it is SU PACE, as termed at the Honorable Supreme Court, which is defining and developing new softwares so that we may do our justice speedily and better. Also, the Punjab and Chandigarh High Court was the first to adopt the AI GPT chat software, and it was used for deciding a bail application. However, we cannot ignore the challenges we have with regard to connectivity issues, with regard to having optical fibers. Allahabad High Court is still lacking on those parameters there. But with the advent of COVID-19 pandemic, we all grew as a society and saw how important digitization was in today's world. India as a country, with the help of the Honorable Apex Court and various other high courts, made a relevant endeavor to adopt virtual hearings. Most of the cases were disposed of during pandemic restrictions on virtual platforms. It was a game changer. It was a leveler for us women, having the requisite need to appear and do our cases online. Then the setting up of e-Seva Kendra for litigants. Now, public role is fragile here. We must take into account the society and the litigants and see what is the need that they look for while developing a modern era judicial system. So therefore, live streaming became extremely important for our courts to show transparency, impartiality, and again, I now say accountability. We must be accountable for the deeds we do, for the endeavors we take, so that there is trust and there is a sense of confidence in the public at large. Having said that, I would not take much of your time because there are beautiful research papers that have come our way. But I would time and again stress the need of having an impartial, a judicious, a transparent system wherein the keen role is given to technology, to its advancement. Technology and justice go hand in hand in today's world. They're two facets of the same coin and are inseparable. And all our means to deliberate and discuss on this Saturday morning is to better our society as a whole, giving broad horizons to all the participants here to think and enrich themselves as to what all can be done in the field of judiciary, as lawmakers, as society givers, to make the world a better place to live in. Thank you.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for sharing valuable insights and perspective. Now, we have with us our speaker, Dr. Vimal Rar, National Coordinator, Guru Angad Dev Teaching Learning Center. With a decade of experience in the corporate e-learning world, she is amongst the pioneers in implementing ICT in higher education in the country and is a tech-savvy teacher. Dr. Vimal Rar is a leading women edupreneur in the field of e-learning with a decade of experience in the corporate e-learning sector as well. Professor Rar is the only chemistry teacher of the country to be awarded the National Resource Center of Chemistry of MHRD, Government of India, for developing ARPIT courses 3 times in a row for all chemistry teachers of India. As Joint Director and Project Head of Guru Angad Dev Teaching Learning Center of MHRD, Government of India, she has trained more than 45,000 teachers, and as Deputy Director of Center for E-Learning, SGTB Khalsa College, she has developed more than 50 MOCs in 4-quadrant format for Swayam platform. She is a governing body member of around 10 autonomous colleges of the country. She is also the member of newly formed committee to review and continue the e-Pathshala project in the next phase at UGC. Dr. Rar has been conferred with various awards like Edupreneur Award by Minister of Education, Bahrain, Delhi Ratan Award Edupreneur Innovator Award, to name a few. She has been recently selected to be awarded the prestigious Indian National Science Academy Teacher Award 2020. So I now request Dr. Vimal Rar ma'am to address the gathering.
Thank you, Abhavya. Good morning, everyone. Very respected chief guest of the event, Professor Nishtha Jaiswal, Honorable Vice Chancellor, National Law University, Shimla, all other distinguished speakers, invited guests, organizers of the event, especially my gratitude goes to the senior officials from University of Guwahati, the Droit Penal Group, and all dear colleagues and participants who have joined in this National Conference on Emerging Contours of Law and Justice in the Contemporary Era, Issues and Challenges. I am not the subject expert on law and justice, but as academician, I will like to humbly submit here that any changes we need to do in the society in any field can be brought from our classrooms. And this is the changing era where we are going into new policy formulations and their implementation. So in that context, I think first responsibility of all of us in any field is every stakeholder should be made aware of what are those changes required, why are they required, and then together we should deliberate upon how they can be implemented so that we can have positive transformation, not only in our classrooms, but through that to the entire society. And in that context, I will like to say that the role of technology, as my earlier speaker was highlighting on the role of AI and GAD-GPT in the field of law and justice, I think the role of technology cannot be undermined now in the 21st century requirement. These tools have to be embraced by each one of us. And that can also happen when we start integrating them as teachers in our teaching methodology and in the assessment tools. But then that also poses challenges. The AI tools and how the humans have to be looking at the challenges, finding the solutions. As teachers, I can commend that how the students will be using it for writing the assignments and how we can use the plagiarism tools. But then technology will keep on coming and going, and we have to be looking at how we can be updated. And then how judiciously and positively they can be applied. There will be negative implications of that also. And that is what we have to be aware and prepare our students. So I'll say as teachers, because many academicians are here, we should be able to use them and guide our students that yes, how positively they can use, because now is the day where all the information is available handy through all these tools. But then how to use this information and apply it to solve the problems, to analyze, all these changes have to be brought in the teaching, learning, and assessment process. And that is what the National Education Policy 2020 is also highlighting upon. So I will not actually take more time because I know there are so many learned speakers who will be deliberating on the issues specifically in the field of law and justice. But again, I will request all my dear colleagues from this background is that there should be awareness about the law also to all other students. I have seen chemistry students, physics students not knowing anything about the basic laws which every citizen of our country should be aware. So can we try to make awareness of all those fields which are actually required to be leading all of us a good life. The principles of science, chemistry, which will help us lead a good life because of the daily kitchen chemistry we are doing or other applications of science, we are not aware when we are studying law or commerce. So that is the type of thing. And this again is very important, that I'll request that if you can also handhold the school education system, because that's where the foundation of all these subjects are being laid. And we have to look it from the lens where the application part from the real life and the industrial world can be seen. So with these words, I will like to congratulate all the organizers of this event. And I once again welcome each one of you on behalf of Guru Angad Dev Teaching Learning Center. It is a center of Ministry of Education under prestigious Pandit Madan Mohan Malviya National Mission on Teachers and Teaching Scheme. And we keep on supporting and organizing various events for empowerment of teachers so that we can contribute in improving the quality of education system. So I congratulate each one of you, and I'm sure that this conference is going to be very fruitful. Once again, thankful to all, especially Gaurav, for inviting me in this particular inaugural event. Thank you. Over to you, Abhavya.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for enlightening us with your words of knowledge. Proceeding further with the inaugural session, we have with us our guest of honor speaker, Mr. Rakesh Pandey, Senior Advocate, Allahabad High Court. Mr. Rakesh Pandey has completed his studies from St. Joseph's College, Allahabad. He served as President High Court Bar Association, Allahabad in the year 2014 to 15. Currently, he is Senior Advocate, Allahabad High Court. So we welcome you, sir. I now request Rakesh Pandey, sir, to address the gathering.
So please unmute yourself.
Am I audible now?
Yes, sir.
So,
Namaskar. Good day. I feel honored and indebted by your invitation. Thank you for this opportunity to address brilliant minds, to address young minds. Even as I was reading the topic, there was this realization that an infinite canvas has been given to the speakers. I congratulate the speakers for filling up this canvas with skill, clarity, and insight. To borrow from Charles Dickens, we live in the best of times. We live in the worst of times. We live in an era of technological changes which are in fast forward mode. Even before Chandrayaan 2 or Chandrayaan 3 has set in, we have started talking about mission to the sun. Technology has a short shelf life. And society is also pressed to evolve in fast forward. Artificial intelligence is going to be a catharsis for most problems. And at the same time, it is a challenge to existence itself. Law has to evolve at double speed to ensure that citizens continue to live in privacy, security, and with their rights intact. The burden is on our generation to ensure that AI algorithms do not take over and replace the law and the lawmakers. It is our duty to ensure that lack of empathy or insensitivity, which is inherent in AI algorithms, does not become the norm of society or the norm of legal justice delivery system. I will give you an instance. Technology companies like Zomato, Swiggy, Urban Company, they deliver services to your door, very convenient. But then their workers, which have been given the name of gig workers. These workers are a class of employees who have become open to exploitation and insecurity in the absence of any laws structuring their rights and protecting the same. Cyber laws, as the earlier speakers have pointed out, they are in a state of constant flux, largely because we have no idea of the limits of the virtual world and its capacity to invade our privacy. The debate to regulate social media is a conundrum which fails to reconcile the idea of freedom of expression with the acceptable limits of such freedom. Explosion of information has led to formation of inflexible opinions on the basis of incomplete or limited knowledge. This gives rise to intolerance and eventually to violence. In many cases, it is one area which needs to be addressed, firstly by society and thereafter by the laws. Climate changes, the right of our progeny to have clean air, water, the right of our descendants to live in an environment which is free of disease, the right of those who are to come after us to survive in an atmosphere which gives them the proper opportunities for self-realization. These are burdens which we carry. These are the challenges of the contemporary era. I will now come to two areas of concern. Laws may become redundant or obscure with the passage of time, but fundamental rights, civil laws, procedural safeguards, and in a multi-ethnic, diverse society like ours, even customary laws need to be protected. If change is proposed, it should be designed to protect individual liberty and rights, not to gloss over government inefficiency or strengthening government control. Evidently, I have the proposed changes in criminal procedure, penal laws, Evidence Act, and Uniform Civil Code in mind when I say what I have said. The proposed changes in the penal laws appear to be a compression of the existing laws. With greater powers to investigating officers, the proposed changes perhaps do not create any greater rights for the citizen. And in fact, I think it is moving towards a curtailment of rights, a curtailment of procedural safeguards. The Uniform Civil Code, with respect to this country, it is a philosophy. It is an abstract concept as on date because there is no structure to the proposed Uniform Civil Code. But when we talk of the Uniform Civil Code, we have to understand that it is a multi-ethnic, multilingual society, a society which has diverse customs and customary laws, where constitutional protection is given to certain tribes, where a lot of laws which are, I would say, exclusive to a particular tribe and which may not be so understandable by people who are not accustomed to those laws. They have to be respected. A second area of concern, I say, with respect to our country, is the surreptitious introduction of the validity of basic structure doctrine in the public discourse. A retired Chief Justice, now member of the Rajya Sabha, has questioned the very relevance of Keshwanand Bharti judgment, and the idea has mushroomed in the media. End of the day, the guiding philosophy of liberty, fraternity, equality is non-negotiable and cannot be permitted to be taken away by the amendments of the Constitution. This mindset of the people existing for the state, as opposed to the constitutional philosophy that the state exists for the people, this is one big issue which we have to check, which is a challenge in the future, which has to be addressed by the coming generation. I would like to thank the organizers for this opportunity. I was asked to talk for 10 minutes. I hope I have not overdone. I know Gaurav is smiling. He finds that I'm a very talkative speaker. Gentlemen, thank you. Thank you very much once again.
Thank you so much, sir, for being a part of this inaugural event. And it was wrong that you said you are a talkative person. We love listening to you every time whenever we invite you for these programs. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you so much, sir, for sharing such valuable insights. Proceeding further with the inaugural session, we have with us our chief guest, Professor Nishtha Jaswal, Honorable Vice Chancellor, National Law University, Shimla. Professor Dr. Nishtha Jaswal is an academician, administrator, and currently the Vice Chancellor of National Law University, Shimla. She is the first woman Vice Chancellor of HPNLU, Shimla. Professor Nishtha did her PhD in 1989 from Punjab University. Professor Nishtha started his teaching career in 1986. She was also invited as visiting professor by the British Academy, London in 1992. She has teaching experience of 33 years and research experience of 35 years. Her field of specialization is constitutional law, administrative law, human rights, and environmental law. She has published 56 papers and presented 25 seminars and conferences. She has published 6 books, including Role of the Supreme Court, About the Right to Life and Personal Liberty by APH Publishing Corporation, Delhi. Second is Human Rights and the Law, APH Publishing Corporation, Delhi. So we welcome you, ma'am, and I now request Professor Nishtha Jaswal, ma'am, to address the gathering.
Thank you, Bhavya. At the very outset, I express my gratitude towards the organizers for inviting me to this virtual program. Topic is of great importance always, because we always keep on talking about the relationship between law and justice, whether application of law results into doing of justice. All these questions remain always relevant. I'll just start with the Sangathan Sukta from Rig Veda, because just conducting seminars, discussions is not enough unless and until we imbibe whatever we speak, whatever we hear in our hearts. Samaniva akuti samana hridyaniva samanamastu vomana yathava susahasati, which means united be our purpose, harmonious be our feelings, collected be our minds in the same way in which the nature, the universe exists in togetherness. It's not today that we talk about law and justice. If I just cite another shloka, Swasti Prajabhay Paripalyantam Nyayen Margen Mahim Mahisha, which means there must be well-being of the people through the rulers using law and justice. Even if I turn back the pages of history, we find different concepts of justice. If I just refer to Aristotle, his concentration was on equality provisions. Equals have to be treated equally, unequals to be unequally. When I refer to Plato, his approach was basically based on values, morality, righteousness. He talked about that what we need is person should be self-consistent and good. And this is done only by values. Similarly, he talked about social consciousness, which in fact is when we have social harmony and good. Other jurists, historians, they all refer to justice as the foundation of any society. Different names have been given to justice. Like if you talk about Karl Marx, even today we talk about when we refer to socialism. This is in relation to economic justice. John Rawls, he talked in the utilitarian sense that justice is about designing rules and political institutions, and there must be maximum happiness of maximum people. How can I forget Amartya Sen? He was not in favor of talking reduction of justice or advancement of justice, and he did not always find fault in the political institutions, corrections of the institutions, but mainly on the behavioral transgressions whenever he referred to remedial justice. Ancient times in India, we did talk about Niti and Nyaya. Niti was nothing but guidelines for the organizing institutions, ruling institutions, correction of their behaviors. And Nyaya was the kind of life led by the people residing anywhere. If I just refer to Frederick Douglass, what he said in 1886, I quote, "Where justice is denied, where poverty is enforced, where ignorance prevails, and where any one class is made to feel that society is an organized conspiracy to oppress, rob, and degrade them, neither persons nor property will be safe." Different timings, different periods, different persons talking in the same way, which shows something is missing. Something needs to be done. If I just refer to Honorable Mr. Justice V.R. Krishna Iyer, I'm a great fan of V.R. Krishna Iyer. When he said, "Law barks at all, but bites only the poor, the powerless, the illiterate, the ignorant." Coming to the present generation, the present Chief Justice of India, Justice D.Y. Chandrachud, he also said, law can be an instrument of justice, but also that of oppression. And all decision makers cannot be judges. We need to refer to all the stakeholders. Now, he just referred to the judicial institution only, because most of the time we find judiciary as the only panacea for all kinds of issues, applying the law, doing justice. Ultimately, there may not be justice, merely application of law. He said, what is required of judicial institution is not, he said, not your merely sense of compassion, but also your sense of empathy. And beautifully he said, I quote, "When you have that ability to hear unheard voices in the system, unseen faces in the system, and then try to bring a balance between law and justice, only then the mission of the judge completes." Now, in this context, what becomes very, very important, because we may talk in any period, starting from any century, the contours, the challenges, the issues will remain almost the same, because we are dealing with human beings. I'll just quote a shloka on the qualities of a king, which is very, very important when we talk about framing of laws, application of law, doing justice. Yatha drishti sharirasya nityamev pravartate, tatha narendro rashtrasya prabhava satya dharmayo.
which means as the eyesight is helpful regularly for a proper setting in motion of the body. We can't see, we can't walk. So also king is the cause of existence for truth and righteousness of a country. Coming to the present situations, taking clues from what has already been done. When we talk about law, if we take law merely what is enacted law, I don't think we will be able to trod the path and reach the temple of justice. Now we can take the best example. We have the Sanctum Sanctorum, the Constitution, which came into force in 1950. Immediately after that, there was a decision by the Supreme Court, same Supreme Court, now which we take as Masiha of Justice, A.K. Gopalan versus State of Madras. When the term law was interpreted, they merely talked about enacted law, having no place for rule of law or principles of natural justice. And we had to travel for a long, long time till Maneka Gandhi, when we did talk about presence of fairness in law. Unless and until, see, we must refresh our minds. The root term in justice is just. And so in 1978, after 28 years, we did talk about procedural fairness. Still 5 more years, Mittu versus State of Punjab, 1983, when we talked about substantive fairness. What we excluded when Constitution was being framed, American Due Process Clause, we adopted partially in 1978 and partially in 1983. Procedure due process and substantive due process. And then with the passage of time, when we started talking about anti-arbitrariness, we started a flow of rule of law, which is nothing but anti-arbitrariness throughout the Constitution. Days have gone. Now we talk about World Justice Project, Rule of Law Index every year. At this moment, India stands at number 79. And a committee has been constituted by Honorable Prime Minister Mr. Modi for finding out the reasons why this is so, we are so low in Rule of Law Index. In fact, in 2020, a petition was also filed before the Supreme Court, which was rejected by the Supreme Court. And when we talk about this Rule of Law Index, we don't simply talk about anything except justice. Because when we talk about restraint on government power, when we refer to fundamental rights, when we talk about criminal justice, civil justice, all these ultimately refer to doing of justice. 2015, Paris Agreement, we talked about climate change, we talked about 17 sustainable development goals, all aim at doing justice. Open to the state parties to frame laws, implement those laws. Now, if we talk about no poverty, zero hunger, gender equality, health and well-being, all these, in fact, you name any SDG, ultimate aim is on doing justice, especially when I refer to SDG 16, where we talk about that all the goals need cordiality between law and justice. And this 16 talks about law, justice, and strong peace, justice, and strong institutions. Justice. I think there's no dearth of laws. We have already talked about fairness of law. The major problem when we talk about justice is whether without any discrimination, without any hindrance, whether we have access to justice. Interestingly, 2016, Supreme Court did talk about in Anita Kushwaha versus Pushpa Sadan regarding this access to justice as a fundamental right. And long before that, Supreme Court had talked about right to speedy justice, fair justice as a fundamental right. I need not to remind, this was in late 70s. I may refer to Zainara Khatun, a number of other cases. In spite of that, we can have the data of pendency. And we talk about justice. And then referring to vulnerable sections of society. Vulnerable is not, I don't always talk about marginalized section. Whosoever suffers is vulnerable. And that suffering needs to be mitigated. How? Laws are passed, but can the law give you 2 square meals a day? Can law just simply give you right to live in healthy environment, or any other kind of law can give you social justice, political justice, economic justice? I think everybody will say, yes, if laws are there, this can be done. But without implementation of these laws, merely the presence of these laws is not adequate. And we have the best examples. I can give the example of PNDT Act of 1994, which was amended in 2002. And even now, the Supreme Court has been talking about, I can just refer to 2016, voluntary health organization case, that Supreme Court still said, implement the provisions of PNDT Act. Law is there. Can we say still that justice is being done? Answer is no. If laws are made in consonance with the Constitution, number of laws in favor of women, POSH Act, Protection from Domestic Violence Act, Dowry Prohibition Act, Sati Prevention Act, and endless laws. 2020 saw the activist court declaring that women can also be taken in permanent commission in army, in navy, if you refer to Babita Punia's case or any Nagaraj case. But immediately after that, 2020, when we saw Nitasha Sharma, everything falls. How rules were framed, creating total hindrance for women. And again, then came Kush Kalra's case. I just refer to Justice Chandrachud. The judges have to be empathetic. They have to bring a balance between law and justice. And on the same line, we find the decisions of different high courts, like we haven't forgotten Bombay High Court skin-to-skin test, or another high court talking about if the victim agrees to tie Rakhi, then bail will be granted. So very, very interesting situations. 2014, transgender rights were recognized. Detailed guidelines were issued by the Supreme Court. Whether everything has been implemented, there's a big question mark. And similarly, we talk about in Navtej Singh Johor's case, LGBTQ rights. And now another issue which is pending before the Supreme Court regarding same-sex marriages. We had to travel from Shah Bano to Shaira Bano, talking about that women are also persons, they are human beings. And when we talk about equals have to be treated equally, women are women, whether they belong to any religion. But still these issues are going on. We had constitutional values. We started talking about constitutional morality. And still we have to revisit the Sabarimala issue. We In fact, Supreme Court tried to make all the fundamental rights living reality, creating a balance between power and liberty. I can give you the example of the Supreme Court when it innovated the concept of public accountability. Plethora of decisions. I may refer to any case of M.K. Gupta, Lucknow Development Authority versus M.K. Gupta, or I may talk about T.N. Godavarman cases. Now, by this concept, Supreme Court said, if power is misused, then those who misuse the power will be made personally liable. Public accountability. Now, you know what started happening in number of decisions, that whenever any victimization because of favoritism, nepotism, misuse of power was there, Supreme Court imposed compensation to be deducted from the pockets of the guilty official. But how many cases, such cases, are brought before the courts? Supreme Court had been talking about right to live in a healthy environment as a fundamental right in the starting from late 70s and early 80s. And till date, we are suffering. And we started suffering from natural disasters or man-made issues. Now, we have suffered for long time from COVID-19 pandemic situation. We did not learn. In the hill areas, I'm from Himachal Pradesh, there is nothing but trahi-mam, total disaster is going on. Now, who is at fault? Whether laws are at fault, laws are there, implementation part is faulty. And then with the passage of time, as Professor Pandey and other speakers also refer to it, that we are progressing from using our minds for analyzing, deliberating, evaluating. We have passed on to artificial intelligence. We had been using information technology and we struggled to frame laws. But still, when any situation which is beyond our imagination arises, then we have to think of making amendments. Right to privacy. Now, this emerged out of the interpretation by the Supreme Court only that right to life means right to live with human dignity. Not only privacy, autonomy, identity, all these issues, these are settled by the Supreme Court, but still we come forward with a number of problems because of our progress, our development without mental restraints. Now we are living in the era where we talk about robots working, we talk about digital privacy, we talk about data privacy. Now, see, we have not one where we are lacking, we were lacking. Like if I talk about informational privacy, even right to information act is there, right to information has been recognized as a fundamental right. Still struggling, and consequences we have tilt either on one side, that like I give you the example of right to privacy only, right to information only, that we never got the information, how many efforts we might make. So we have this right, but this is being misused. Similarly, privacy issues, I want to decide what I want to disclose, what I don't want to disclose. Now, if there is no uniformity, then there'll be nothing but a kind of jungle raj. This is my wish, this is my whim, this is my fancy. So this has to be regularized. We understand it very well that all the freedoms are there, but they can't be absolute. And in the modern times, again, advancement of technology, advancement of AI, number of issues where still the laws may not be adequate. I may talk about the cloud computing, I may talk about use of stem cells, and even now after in 2020 we had this surrogacy laws, but still questionable. So we are still sailing in the boat where we have to go much ahead, facing the frowning, flooding waters of the ocean. I can admit before all of you, I'm a poet by heart, so I'll just conclude giving a message. सबसे पहले मैं बात करूंगी समाज की आत्मा क्या कहती है। जागो, मेरे शरीर के हिस्से हो तुम, मैं छोड़ गई तो केवल किस्से हो तुम। जागो, मेरे शरीर के हिस्से हो तुम, मैं छोड़ गई तो केवल किस्से हो तुम। मैं रोज मरती हूं, मानव आत्मा सी अमर नहीं। मैं रोज मरती हूं, मानव आत्मा सी अमर नहीं। मेरा कोई अंग तड़पे मुझ पर कैसे असर नहीं। दर्द बांटो, हक बांटो और फर्ज भी बांटो। दर्द बांटो, हक बांटो और फर्ज भी बांटो। अपने अपने ही स्वार्थ ही केवल नहीं छांटो। झगड़ों की झाड़ पर न्याय के फूल नहीं खिलते। झगड़ों की झाड़ पर न्याय के फूल नहीं खिलते। कानून के थाल किसी लंगर में नहीं मिलते। कानून के थाल किसी लंगर में नहीं मिलते। ए रब, अदालतें बने मंदिर। ए रब, अदालतें बने मंदिर और वकील बने पुजारी। तभी अदालत जाना नहीं पड़ेगा किसी को भारी। What a common man says, माना कि मैं वह हूं जिसका हक कानून की थाली में सजाया जाता है। माना कि मैं वह हूं जिसका हक कानून की थाली में सजाया जाता है, जिसके मानवीय अधिकारों पे भी प्रश्न उठाया जाता है। इस धरा के हर मंच पर न्याय और समता की बातें करते हो। इस धरा के हर मंच पर न्याय और समता की बातें करते हो। निभाने वक्त कलम से कुछ और ही रंग भरते हो। परेशान खिलखिलाते को दिखाते हो अदालत के सीन द्वार। परेशान बिलखिलाते को दिखाते हो अदालत के सीन द्वार। कैसे लांघू काले कोट वाले मांगते हैं नोटों के हार। रंग बिरंगे नोट तो चंद तिजोरियों में बंद है। रंग बिरंगे नोट तो चंद तिजोरियों में बंद है। हमारी श्रेणी से है, उन्हीं से मिला हाथ, मिलता तुम्हें आनंद है। And it's not that I'll discriminate, I can speak on behalf of the advocates also. वकील साहब क्या कहते हैं? हूं एक भिन्न श्रेणी, अंगत सा पांव है मेरा। हूं एक भिन्न श्रेणी, अंगत सा पांव है मेरा। कभी अदालत में टिकाया, कभी सत्ता पे राज है मेरा। बहुत धन खर्च राजसी संस्थाओं से शिक्षा की है ग्रहण। बहुत धन खर्च राजसी संस्थाओं से शिक्षा की है ग्रहण। सोने का हिरण कैसे छोड़ दूं, सीता का होता है तो हो जाए हरण। मेरी सामाजिक और आर्थिक सुरक्षा की भी कार्य सूची तैयार करो। मेरी सामाजिक और आर्थिक सुरक्षा की भी कार्य सूची तैयार करो। रोज आजीविका कमाता हूं, पेंशन का नहीं कोई आशा। तुम पे गिरे कहर मेरे कंधे बोझ उठाए। तुम पे गिरे कहर मेरे कंधे बोझ उठाए। मेरे कंधों की मरहम तुम्हारे जेब से निकल कर ही आए। न्याय और समता मेरी श्रेणी पे भी लागू करो। न्याय और समता मेरी श्रेणी पे भी लागू करो। मेरी प्रभावी श्रेणी से कहो बलिदान का जादू करो। मेरी प्रभावी श्रेणी से कहो बलिदान का जादू कर। सर्वे भवन्तु सुखिना।
A heartfelt thank you, ma'am. Your insights and expertise were invaluable. So proceeding further, now for presidential address, we have with us Dr. Aparajita Barua, Head of the Department, PG Department of Law, Guwahati University, Assam. So Dr. Aparajita has completed her LLB from Guwahati University in 1996. She pursued LLM with specialization in constitutional law and administrative law from Guwahati University in 1999. She completed her PhD from Guwahati University in 2006. She joined in the Department of Law as assistant professor in 2007 and now serving as head of the department, PG Department of Law, Guwahati University, Assam. I now request Dr. Aparajita ma'am to address the gathering.
Thank you, Avadha. A very good morning to one and all present here. Honorable Chief Guest of today's inaugural program, Professor Nishtha Jaiswal ma'am, Honorable Vice Chancellor of the National Law University, Himachal Pradesh, Shimla. Guest of honor, Mr. Rakesh Pandey, Senior Advocate of the Allahabad High Court. Keynote speaker, Professor Kumar Ashkand Pandey, Professor of the Dr. Ram Manohar Lohia University, Lucknow. Guest speaker, Mrs. Priyanka Midha, Advocate of the Allahabad High Court and also the Additional Chief Standing Counsel, Government of Uttar Pradesh. Then we have the speaker, Professor Vimal Rar, National Coordinator, GAD-TLC, PMMM, NMTT, Ministry of Education, Government of India. Gaurav Gulati, Advocate, Allahabad High Court, maybe offline. The Managing Director of the Droid Panel Group, Miss Gauri Gulati. My esteemed colleagues and the coordinators, Dr. Gauravi Burman and Priyanka Mazumdar. Also the program coordinators, Abhayba Rabra and Anubhuti Agarwal. Esteemed participants and all the viewers who have joined here through virtual platform in the inaugural ceremony of the two-day National Conference on Emerging Contours of Law and Justice in the Contemporary Era, Issues and Challenges. The qualitative researches in various fields of social science have distinctly established the causal relationship that exists between the economic prosperity and social change necessary for social development of a nation. In order to achieve socioeconomic development, it is necessary to create human capital having a strong social vision. A society with distinctive social vision focus on rendering social justice to its citizens by equipping them with the right knowledge and skills to know about their rights and duties for countermanding conflicts that arise among the various stakeholders while pursuing economic development. It is evident from the past studies that legal research and studies play a pivotal role in ensuring social justice to the people of a developing economy, particularly in the northeastern region, having wide diversities amidst unity. With this objective in mind, the NAC A-grade University of Guwahati set up the Postgraduate Department of Law on 23rd of March 1976 to delve further into the study of law and conduct of legal research beyond the course curriculum of the existing LLB program. Though in her welcome speech, Abhayba has cursorily narrated about the vision of the university, about the vision of our department, I would like to focus further on this aspect. We have an all-encompassing vision. The vision of the department reads as follows: developing human capital and establishing the department as center of excellence for conducting cutting-edge legal research that will assist the nation in safeguarding its integrity, ensuring justice and freedom to its citizens, and assisting in its progress and prosperity by laying the foundation for a strong legal framework as per the ideals and aspirations enshrined in the Constitution, because Constitution is the law of the land. And to achieve this vision, we have already undertaken fivefold missions. We impart quality legal education at the LLM level, full-fledged research experience at the PhD level, critical legal thought and socially relevant dissemination of knowledge of laws, overall growth of the peoples with special emphasis on upholding the core societal values with the help of laws, and finally, in tune with the NEP's goal, joining hands with other academic disciplines for collaborative research and legal studies for building a nation based on four vital components: freedom, justice, peace, and common brotherhood. Over the years, the department immensely contributed in various fields, including the alumni of the department has adored the position of the judges of the Supreme Court, judges of the various high courts, also the Chief Justice of High Courts. It has already been narrated by Avaiva that Chief Ministers of the Government of Assam, different ministers, they are holding different portfolios in the Government of Assam. Then they have contributed in the education sector immensely by becoming faculties in the different universities, including national law universities, also the law colleges. Then they have joined hands in the NGOs and so on. And lastly, I would like to say that law and justice go hand in hand. Justice has to be achieved by collating, rather harmonizing various competing or conflicting interests that exist in the society. We are indeed very glad to say that the Pandit Madan Mohan Malviya mission, that is the training for teacher and training, that is the organization of the Ministry of Education, Government of India, along with the Droid Panel Group, have joined hands with the Department of Law to organize this two-day national conference through virtual mode on the important theme of emerging contours of law and justice in the contemporary era, issues and challenges. The different subheadings are already highlighted. I already identified and highlighted wherein the different researchers, academicians, lawyers would definitely throw light and will definitely contribute immensely for the overall growth of the knowledge in the broad domains of law and justice. I would like to extend my heartfelt congratulations to the entire team for undertaking such a noble initiative. With this, I would like to conclude my presidential address. Thank you all.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Now, I would like to invite Managing Director of Droid Panel Group, Ms. Gauri Gulati, ma'am, to end today's inaugural session with a vote of thanks.
Thank you, Bhavya. Good afternoon, distinguished guests, esteemed speakers and participants. It is with great pleasure and deep sense of gratitude that I extend a heartfelt vote of thanks on this momentous occasion of the inaugural ceremony of the National Conference on Emerging Contours of Law and Justice in the Contemporary Era, Issues and Challenges. This conference, organized by the PG Department of Law, Guwahati University, Assam, and the Droid Panel Group, a unit of Arjun Das Gulati Memorial Society, Prayagraj, in collaboration with Guru Angad Dev Teaching Learning Center, Pandit Madan Mohan Malviya National Mission on Teachers and Training, Ministry of Education, Government of India, has brought together legal luminaries, scholars, and enthusiasts from across the nation. First and foremost, our sincere thanks go to Professor Nishtha Jaswal, the Honorable Vice Chancellor of National Law University, Shimla, for gracing this occasion with her presence. Her insightful words have set the tone for what promises to be an intellectually stimulating conference. We are equally grateful to Mr. Rakesh Pandey, Senior Advocate of the Allahabad High Court, for sparing his precious time to join us as the guest of honor. Your presence adds immense value to our event, sir. A special mention has to be made for our esteemed guest, Professor Kumar Askan Pandey, Mrs. Priyanka Midha, Dr. Prajita Barua, Dr. Karavi Burman, and Professor Vimal Rar. Your participation enhances the prestige of this conference, and we deeply appreciate your presence. Our heartfelt thanks extend to all our esteemed speakers whose expertise and insights will undoubtedly enrich the discourse of the technical sessions. And we cannot forget the invaluable contribution of our moderators, organizers, and participants. Your dedication and hard work has made this conference a reality. Once again, thank you all for your presence, support, and your active participation. I wish you all productive and enlightening sessions ahead. Best wishes and warm regards for the upcoming technical sessions. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, ma'am.
God bless. God bless, Peter.
Thank you, ma'am. I now request everyone to stand up for the national anthem. So thank you so much, everyone, for joining us. Thank you so much, respected dignitaries and dear participants, for joining us for the inaugural session. I request the participants to kindly join for the parallel session as per their respected slots, and all the best, everyone.